I am known as Hobble. My mother, father, and I live among the bog dwellers settled on the peaty soil of the clearing at Black Lake. The place is peaceful, remote, far to the northwest of the regions fully occupied and subdued by our conquerors. 17 years have passed since our vast island fell to Roman rule and became Britannia, the newest province of the Roman Empire. Even so, we persist much as we always have, sowing wheat fields at seed time, swinging scythes at harvest, stooping under the weight of gathered sheaves. My father has long contended that great change exists on the near horizon. They edge closer, he says, of the warriors worming westward across Britannia. They will bring their Roman ways. His palms turn open as he speaks, welcoming. My mother's lips press tight. Her fingers twist a fold of woolen skirt. And me? As one year rolls uneventfully into the next, I have come to think of the talk that so agonizes my mother as little more than the yearning of a discontented man. But then, 3 days ago, I saw them on that near horizon. Romans in our midst. A vision preceded, as always, by a flash of white light. Visions are not new to me. I knew my birth from one of the earliest, a scene that had come to me even before I abandoned my mother's breast. I saw the swirl of milky curls that would one day fall to my waist, the blue eyes that remain as startling as the first violets poking through the thawing earth. I watched my mother stroke my tiny earlobe in that vision, the pads of my toes, and then gently turn me in her hands. She saw it then, the mark on the small of my back. A stain like elderberry dye slopped from a mug to form a reddish-purple crescent at its base. My father was drawing his knife through the jelly and sinew of the umbilical cord and had not seen the mark. Though she had labored hard, she possessed the wherewithal to pull me to her breast, tucking that crescent from view. What to make of the stain hidden behind her pulsing wrist? She touched her fingers to her lips and then, with great reverence, threaded them through the covering of rushes to reach the earthen floor beneath, a spot alongside her sleeping pallet. She held them there a moment longer than was customary in honoring Mother Earth, the goddess who had blessed the seed left in her womb, same as she did the seeds sowed in the fields. My mother has not breathed a word about the mark, and yet I know to keep the small of my back hidden, even from my father. I know to protect the secret shared between only my mother and me. Always, I use 2 clasps at each shoulder to bind the front of my dress to its back, when one would suffice. Though we do not speak of my birth, I can describe the deep blue of the veins webbing my mother's breasts, the slight tremble of my father's hand as he clenched his knife, and, above all, the way she hid the crescent from his view. The finer points of the scene glinted before me with the exactness of a sharpened blade, same as they had for that vision of Romans at Black Lake. 3 days ago, as my mother and I gathered sorrel to flavor our evening soup, my mouth flooded with the taste of metal. I stopped in my tracks and steadied myself for the vision that I knew would come. The metallic taste broadened, and I waited for light, white as the sun. It came, blinding for a flash, then vanished. I saw the clearing at Black Lake, the lone bay willow, the thick lower branches of the nearby ash, the one that swooped close enough to the earth that the children in our settlement seldom resisted the perch. I counted 8 figures riding into the clearing, figures who appeared more instrument than man. Metal plates covered their torsos and shoulders, bronze helmets protected their heads, flaps shielded their cheeks. Their right hips held swords, their left daggers, their fists spears of several lengths. Each sat abreast a horse, his well-muscled body taut, ready to strike. Then, within an instant, I was back to the pretty day, the sorrel that blazed green. "Romans!" I gasped to my mother. "At Black Lake!" Her face fell. Mother? I said, waiting for the consolation I had known her to weave from even the flimsiest threads. Her fingers let loose a clutch of sorrel, and it fell to her feet.